All right, let's give our attention to our attorney, prosecution. Girls.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the Industrial Revolution had an overall negative impact on humanity. The Industrial Revolution made millions miserable, and it only made the rich more wealthy and the poor more unfortunate. Working conditions were atrocious, and even life outside the factory was dreadful. Families were forced to live with 10 to 12 people in one home, and even illness and diseases spread rather quickly. Due to the size of the houses, there was no place to put waste, so the streets were filled with disease, pollution, trash, etc. The workhouses were even the worst place to work during this time for multiple reasons. The pay was $8 to $10 a week, and that would be about 10 cents an hour. It's not much to live on. Workers usually spend 12 to 16 hours working every day with only a 1 to 2 hour break and not much sleep. Also, due to the increase of industrial factories, the amount of carbon dioxide rose by millions because of daily coal burning. The Industrial Revolution was a form of capitalism because it created two different classes of people, the workers and the exploiters. The exploiters constantly took advantage of the poor workers, and this eventually led to worker riots and revolts. But when the workers decided to form a union, the industry never listened to them, and they even fired the employees for protesting. Factory workers weren't the only workers being mistreated. The mill girls were treated in an inhumane manner. They had to endure harsh punishments such as being pinched, beat, pushed, and even seen as slaves from their employers. These girls had to work 73 hours a week and were only forced to work in a room with about 80 other innocent girls. During this time, 25,000 to 35,000 people died, and about 1 million were injured at their jobs. Not only that, but over 50% of child workers were involved in work that put their lives in danger. And there was no workers' compensation, so if you were to get injured at work, well, that was tough luck, and that wasn't fair to anybody. Also in the cities, there was unacceptable upkeep. Crime rates were high, construction was only designed to fit as many people as possible, and reasonable living conditions were considered at all. The average global temperature was also rising as well due to the invention of the automobile and extensive use of non-renewable resources, and industry disrupted the prior way of life beforehand. Industry also promoted a more indoor lifestyle, and studies have shown that being in an outdoor environment can decrease stress and increase immune system, but the problem was that it was also harmful to be outdoor as indoor. Also, the Industrial Revolution caused the world to become mass consumers, and this only created awful habits. So, the Industrial Revolution had an overall impact on humanity after it began in England in the mid-1700s due to health hazards, harsh punishments, inhumane working conditions, and an unfair economic system.
Thank
I
you.
only have 1 minute to get this.
No, well, okay.
Good afternoon, my name is Carly Bory, and this is my partner Sarah Abraham, and again we are the defense lawyers for this case. In this case that the prosecution has presented to you today and yesterday, there is insufficient evidence to convict. The defendant stands here wrongly accused of having an overall negative impact on humanity after it began in England in the mid-1700s. We ask for a verdict of not guilty. The prosecution has provided witnesses asking for your pity, including a child who chose manual labor but does not like hard work. They have shown you someone who has destroyed the machines that supplied an occupation for someone else in a selfless act to make a statement. The prosecution has given witness to a man who did not like the conditions in his workplace but continued to work without doing anything to make a difference. They showed you a girl who did not appreciate the food, housing, pay, or medical care provided to her. They showed you an organizer who led her people to fight for better wages but not to find a new job that already had the wages they argued for. We have seen two economists and scientists who conducted research and spread the word about negativity but never took action. They continued to work for pay and spend their money like any other person would have killed to do. Should I just keep going?
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay. Their last witness was an environmentalist who still buys products built from these harsh tree-killing factories. While analyzing our witnesses, they said that families were separate throughout the day, when how is that different now? They said workers were forced to work 14 to 16 hours a day, but who was forcing them? They said the products for middle class were low quality, but where is the proof? The conditions were hard for light bulbs, building light bulbs, but at least they had lights to see what they never did before. The sun gives light, but at night, through walls. They insulted inventors for how the factories were run, but they had no part in the decisions of how they were run, only what they were making. Surprise!
You can keep going. Witnesses, if you need to go, I'll write jurors' passes. You can keep going.
The surprise evidence shown was only showing information that was not a surprise and had already been discussed now, and how pollution when pollution increased laws and agencies were created like the EPA to eventually prevent pollution and create more health hazard or health safety. They say that the money was not enough and may seem like little to us now, but times were different and products were worth less. What's the prosecution prove to you? It seems to me that they proved that there are many people in this time unwilling to perform work for pay. They would rather have worked in the pre-industrial revolution conditions. The defense has thoroughly shown you the countless improvements to the society, economy, and quality of life in this time. This defendant does not even have to prove he is innocent. Rather, it is the lack of substantial evidence from the prosecuting attorneys that can prove the defendant is not guilty. We would ask you to render the only verdict that is fair, not guilty.
Okay, so